House will be in order. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in opposition to $100 billion worth of bailouts for a broken system that is fueled by Democrat mandates. I rise in opposition to subsidizing insurance plans for wealthy people. Any support of the bill ensures subsidies go to wealthy families making as much as $600,000 a year. I rise, Mr. Speaker, in opposition to using hard-earned taxpayer dollars to bail Democrats out of their own decision to make this COVID-era spending temporary so that they could give Green New Deal tax breaks for the wealthy, for electric vehicles and solar panels. They had the option. They had the option to make permanent twice, whether it was in the American Rescue Plan or the Inflation Reduction Act, but instead they wanted to put their resources to their wealthy environmentalists. Check the math. Nearly half of all Americans get their insurance from their employer. Nearly a quarter from Medicaid and a bit less than that for Medicare. Only 7% of the population relies on Obamacare, marketplace plans. This chamber should be about helping 100% of Americans and lowering the cost of health care and premiums, not just 70%. It is shameful, Mr. Speaker, that Democrats are only focusing on 7% of the population while ignoring the millions of working families who are struggling to afford health care. Since Obamacare was enacted, premiums have increased 80%. Since Obamacare was enacted, let me say that again. The premiums have increased 80%. Deductibles and out-of-pocket costs have skyrocketed. Families worry about medical debt. That is, those who still have access to doctors. In fact, 150 rural hospitals have closed since passage of Obamacare, and small businesses were crushed under the weight of the new mandates. Not only do Democrats refuse to fix any of this, they want to make it permanent at a cost of $400 billion. No thanks, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, reverting these tax credits back to the original structure that the Democrats designed means 93% of enrollees will still retain very generous subsidies next year. 60% of the enrollees will still have access to a plan at or below $50 a month. I represent one of the poorest congressional districts in the country, and still 99.7% of my constituents in my district, one of the poorest congressional districts, will be unaffected by this expiration. This is all about subsidizing the wealthy. So why are we even having this debate? Because Democrats chose to make these giveaways temporary. Not once, but twice, Mr. Speaker, as part of their partisan spending bills. The reason they did so was to shower the rich with Green New Deal subsidies, which they made permanent. And we reversed those in the big, beautiful bill. And here's a word you won't hear from Democrats: fraud. They forced taxpayers to pay up to $27 billion for as many of 6.4 million individuals fraudulently enrolled in the Obamacare plans. Nearly half of all enrollees, that's 12 million people, didn't even file one single medical claim, not even a prescription, all year last year. It sounds like they didn't even know that they had insurance through Obamacare, but those insurance companies were subsidized Almost half of them on the exchanges. And if Democrats think that that's not a problem, that's pretty scary. So I called on the Government Accountability Office to investigate. They created fictitious Obamacare applicants with fake documentation. 100%, not some, but 100%, not half, 100% were approved in the first year. And 90% are still being subsidized, resulting in checks worth more than $12,000 per month going to insurance companies. One Social Security number was associated with more than 125 different Obamacare policies. One Social Security number tied to more than 125 policies. Waste, fraud, abuse. But apparently, the other side doesn't see that. They don't see the truth. In fact, more than 58,000 dead people were being subsidized according to the Government Accountability Office. In response, Democrats only bragged about higher health insurance enrollment. They're really celebrating, what they're celebrating is subsidizing insurers for people without a pulse. For Democrats, fraud comes first. Mr. Speaker, Republicans are putting real, living Americans first. We blocked illegal immigrants' access to taxpayer-funded health care benefits, then eliminated over $185 billion worth of fraud and waste in the Obamacare marketplace. For Americans who are eligible, we actually lowered Obamacare premiums and expanded access to health savings accounts, direct primary care, and telehealth for millions, including Obamacare enrollees as part of the Working Families Tax Cuts. We invested $50 billion in the healthcare needs of rural communities. We passed the Lower Healthcare Premiums for All American Act, which also lowered premiums even further, as well as provided more freedom and flexibility for healthcare access and increased competition by negotiating better drug prices for workers. Mr. Speaker, I take greater access to affordable health care any day over shoveling more tax dollars into Democrats' health care fraud schemes. I oppose this legislation and I reserve.
Gentleman from Missouri reserves.